The C.J. Howard Show. Now, let's go to C.J. Howard.
A early Merry Christmas and a early Happy New Year to all, and welcome to the final episode of 2024 for the C.J. Howard Sports Talk Show. As episode number 14 gets going here tonight. I'm C.J. Howard live from my apartment in Hazard, Kentucky. Great to be with you after a tremendous week at the Mountain Classic. Saw some good things, saw some not so good things. Just a weird week. A great championship game, though. We'll talk more about it in just a little bit. You guys can watch us live. You can watch me live on my Facebook page. I have been told that you cannot watch me on my sports page. There is something wrong with my sports page. So you can only watch me live on Facebook, and you can only watch me live on YouTube, and you should be able to watch me live on the D&D Sports Network. There's something wrong with my sports page. I didn't have a chance to read the message because we need to get started with the show. Got a great guest list for you tonight. Going to be joined by Jeff Honeycutt here in about 10 minutes. Travis Smith's going to join us at 8:30. Jeff Drummond from Cat's Paws. Love when Jeff's on here. 9 o'clock for Jeff. And then we're going to have Armando on here. And we got a lot to talk about with Armando because I decided to go record keeping today. And I got everybody's records that's played games so far. Some surprising records out there. And I know we're going to play 3 and 4 games. I know. But still, there's some teams out there that Pikeville Girls has not won a game yet. I'll just stop there and we'll talk more about it. Let's see. Got to the guest. Okay. Now, my co-host. He's been with us before. He was with us about a month ago. He's back with us tonight. Mr. Sandra Turner. He helps a lot of different people in Jackson. A lot of times you'll hear him on the radio station there in Jackson. And he does some other stuff over there too. Sandra, it's good to have you back with us.
Thank you, CJ. It's good to be back. Merry Christmas, early Merry Christmas to everyone out there. And we certainly hope everyone has a happy New Year as well. And getting preparation, it's only 10 days away now. So it's going to fast be here and be gone and just as quick as it gets here. And congratulations to the Hazard Bulldogs, the WYMT Mountain Classic champions.
Yeah, they
back.
Yeah, tough game last night. If you didn't get to watch it, shame on you, because you should have been there, or you could have watched it when the great Brian Milam and the great Tanner Hesterberg brought it to you live. They did an unbelievable job, and those two, they're heard them call brought chill bumps to me. But great, it was a really good ball game. Listen, Harlan County's for real. Hazard's for real. Harlan County's for real. That's what you wanted your championship game to be, and that's what it was. It was just a good championship game. And
close. It could have went either way.
Mm-hmm, yep. So I think it's one of those opportunities, though, where I think that I think everybody in the building knew that Hazard. Listen, if you didn't know who was going to get the basketball at the end of the game, then you've not watched Hazard. Apparently,
no.
It
had to be one of two people, I think.
Yeah, either Seth or Evan Shaw.
Or Cottle.
That's Seth. Seth.
Yeah,
I call him Seth.
Or Evan, yeah.
Yeah, but you knew they was going to go to Evan Shaw because they were going to try to get the ball inside, knowing that Harlan County don't double team a whole lot. So that led to the go-ahead basket and the foul. He hit the free throw. It did leave 1.3 on the clock, but they missed a shot at the buzzer. And it was a good championship game. Congratulations to the Bulldogs. Congratulations to the North Laurel Lady Jaguars. Their first title after 4 tries. They've been in the championship game 2 times. Corbin had been their nemesis. But now we're surprised by this, but not surprised. I'm going to tell you 2 different reasons why. I wasn't surprised North Laurel won by 30-some points, but, Knox Central played so hard yesterday morning against Corbin. I don't know if they had much in them left. I think their legs were probably weary. Listen, it's hard to play a semifinal game when you don't have fresh legs and you don't have, and I told somebody sitting in the stands, I said, if these 2 teams play again later in the year, this will be a whole different game. Knox Central will be fresh.
Could very well be.
Yeah, well, yeah.
There's some teams, CJ, that are possibly peaking right now that may struggle later on in the year. That kind of wonder. I kind of get that thought with Hazard, But hey, I can't see that happening this year. They seem to peak and just stayed there,
Well, now, we did see last night in a close game what probably Al's going to stay with, a six-man rotation. Might go seven sometimes, but he stayed with a six-man rotation last night. And, listen, Hazard's got –
their bench really produced for them over that tournament.
Well,
they really came along, and
Kincaid
that makes them even more dangerous.
Kincaid and Beverly, they give them what they need. So I think that was important. They got through. I mean,
and Johnson too.
Al can go 10 deep.
The Johnson kid too.
Yeah, but he played. I remember he played 7 people in the third and fourth quarter. But now he stayed with basic 5 all the way, mostly for the game. So, that's one thing Harlan County doesn't have. Their bench is not that strong. They got a really good starting 5, and they got a good 6-man.
Yeah. I think that's the key to how far you'll go is how well your bench is.
Yeah. This is a region in the 14s, and you know this, Sandra. I don't really. I mean, unless things really change, it's going to be. There's going to have to be some. I mean, who can play with Hazard? Who can? We've seen Breathitt twice, and they haven't.
Yeah.
They haven't played anybody else in the region yet. They put Ashland. They won every game last night. The first night was the closest game they've had. I think Hazard's for real. Listen, I'm not. Listen, they're good.
They are good.
But is there who's the next best team in this region? That's your next question. Because I think that everybody else behind Hazard,
you would think it would be based on what you're talking about, Jenkins.
Well, Jenkins, listen. Now, Jenkins, I'm the biggest Winston Lee fan in the world. We had Winston on here a couple weeks ago. And he talked about his kids. He was excited about this team. And he said that, he's won some games. That, he's 5-0. I put him in my top 10 this week. In my personal top 10.
CJ, maybe Powell County.
Powell County boys are, listen, very, 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 very good. They're strong.
They got
Estill's 5-1. Listen,
right.
Brian Hall, I don't never bet against Brian Hall. He's tough as nails. And, Brian, you look at Powell and Estill together, they're 9-2, so that's a good record. But now, the boys 56 is they don't get much respect anyway, and I think that's sad because there's some good basketball in the 56.
There is
because they're just different from everybody else. So yeah, it's wild.
And I wonder if Lee County will get out of their funk that they're in. They're 0-6. They shouldn't be 0-6 at this point with the talent they have.
Yeah, they run into they got some good talent. They just have run into some very rough times right now. Let's see what else has been going on since we last. We last saw you. Okay. Now I'm going to jump on about 6 topics here, and then then Sandra can answer each one of the topics.
Hey, Bengals won today.
They did. Kept their playoff hopes alive. They're 6-8.
I didn't know that they could even possibly get a playoff. But that made them what?
They have to win out, and they have to have a lot of help.
What that make them 6-8 or something?
They got 6-8. They got a monster game next week against the Browns. They got to win. They have to win out. Right? They're 6-8.
I think that's at Cleveland too, ain't it?
Cleveland. No, that's in Cincinnati, ain't it?
Oh, is it? Okay.
I thought it was in Cincinnati. But big game, good win for the Bengals today. Listen, I knew this was going to happen. I told my brother this morning.
CJ, I'm sorry, I didn't watch it, but how did Will Levis do?
He had a rough day. Bengals, listen, and I'm a big Will Levis fan. I am.
Yeah, I wish that kid much success.
Well, he a Bengals defense that's rated 20, almost dead last in the conference, picked him off 4 times today.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, when you let the Bengals intercept you 4 times, it's not, that's not very good.
No, that's not going to spell good for him.
No, that's not going to spell good times for him at all. But
which they were taught that they were going to release him earlier in the year. So I hope him well.
Will Levis don't need to be released, but Will Levis probably just needs a new scenery. His contract's going to be up next year. He's sort of like Daniel Jones. I think that he'll get picked up by another team. Somebody else will get him. So I think he'll be okay, but he's just got to hang in there. The big news of the week was North Carolina hired a new football coach.
And Bill Belichick.
Why?
How do you say? Yeah.
Why is Bill Belichick coaching? Listen,
he's set for life. Why would he want?
He ain't got enough patience to go to a door and go, "Hello,
no,
yes,
no.
I would love for your child to come play for me." You mean I have to go do that? Yes, Bill, you have to go do that. I'm sorry. You have to go knock on their door and talk to their parents, see if they want to come. Listen, I'll be really honest. I bet they're knocking the door down in the transfer portal and wanting to go now to North Carolina.
Probably because they figure he can get them to the next level, just kind of like with Calipari,
Yeah.
Where he's coached so many years in the pros.
Speaking of Kentucky basketball, big win for Kentucky yesterday over Louisville. Not the best looking win, but good win. Now Louisville's not.
Louisville just hung around, but they battled and they hung around and made it interesting.
Butler had a nice game. 33 points,
career high.
33 points, 13 rebounds, 5 assists. He had a big game.
Oh man, he had a monster game.
Yeah, big game. And Kentucky women 10-1, crushing Purdue yesterday. 82 to 52. Big win. Let's see other things going on. The Mountain Classic, of course, it was a really good classic. I think we all thought this was going to be the classic we would never forget. It ended up being a lot of blowouts. I mean, we saw 7 teams get beat by over 20 points in this tournament. So that tells you that this was probably a 2-3 team tournament.
They may need to look at look at that next year and try to get teams in there that's had a good record going into it. They're coming in or see what their personnel is coming back. That might help make it a little more competitive because there was some blowouts.
Want to have to check. Maybe Mr. Honeycutt might have forgot about me.
CJ, we want to congratulate Austin Sperry and Sawyer Thompson becoming how often does it happen that 2 players become the school's all-time leading scorers in one game? That's a rarity.
I don't think I've ever seen it. That's the first I've ever heard of that because
but it's a history-making Mountain Classic. So,
well, nobody talked about
Barry
Austin's record. They talked about Sawyer's because I don't think nobody knew that Austin was that close.
And how ironic is it that they played against another guy called Sawyer Thompson? There was a Sawyer Thompson that was a really good ball player at Wolf County a couple of years ago.
Sawyer Thompson's about as good as listen, he's one of the top 5 players in the 13th region.
He is really good. He sure is. He deserves that, and congratulations to that young man, and congratulations to Austin.
Yes, and we're speaking of Austin, the man that coaches Austin is with us now. One of my best friends, Mr. Jeff Honeycutt of the Breathitt County Bobcats. Coach, great to have you with us.
Thank you. I had a little computer difficulties, but I think I got it lined out.
Good evening, Coach.
Listen, computer problems happens all the time. I deal in them, so it's okay. Coach, good to see you again. Let's start with the Mountain Classic. I know what was you wanting to get out of the Mountain Classic? I know winning and losing, that was one thing, but improvement in your team, and I think I'm seeing it. I'm seeing improvement.
Well, anytime you enter the Mountain Classic, it's a great tournament. It's early in the year, and you get to gauge a lot of things, see a lot of different styles. Obviously, playing Pineville right off the bat, they have two guys, two 20-point scorers, and then the Puckett kid had a real good game. And we're not healthy by no means. We've had a couple guys out sick, one with a bad ankle, but
Yeah,
somebody stepped
I
in
was
and played well.
coach. I was going to get to that because I know your team's kind of hobbled right now, and that.
Yeah, well,
Uh,
we are a little bit, but the good news is in the season that gives opportunity for other players to step up and play some. And definitely you want to YMT. I was lucky enough to be part. Not Central Lady Patriots won it a few years ago, and played in it several times, and it's a great event. Very well ran. Great atmosphere. Last night's game was unbelievable. You had Hazard and Harlan County go right down to the wire.
that was just like a state tournament type game.
Yeah, it was, and you're right, CJ. We want to see improvement, and we didn't show it against Hazard, but we have improved since day one. We're hoping to get healthy over Christmas break and make a run, at the Owsely.
I did see a bracket. You guys are in the same bracket with Hazard, so this could you. I was. May I thank my subject coach, so you can tell me if I'm wrong. There's a possibility that you guys could play 4 times. You already played once. You played the Mountain Classic. You already got a regular season game at the end of the year. There's a possibility you play the Mountain in the All A, and then there's a chance you could play sometime in the 14th region. There's a chance you may play Hazard 5 times this year.
Yeah, there's a chance of it. Our All A opens up. We've got Wolf County at home in the All A, and Coach Creech has got a real good team down there. They start 4 guards and a forward. It'll be a tough matchup for us. We got a big district game with them Tuesday night at Wolf County, and we'll see what happens there. But that's a long way off. I'm hoping to play Hazard again in LA because that means we're in the championship. But there's several good teams along the way that we have to prepare for before we get there. When the first one is Wolf County, and like I said, they're awful good team. They shoot the ball well, handle it. Big right basket. Mo Lands is healthy, and it's Creech running the point, and Oliver and not Delaney, but Holland on the wing. So that'll be a tough test for us, Tuesday night as well as in the first round of LA.
I know this region, Coach. Everybody talks about Hazard, Knott County, Perry Central, you guys, and I know that legitimately Estill and Powell's really having really great starts. Both of them together has an 8-2 record. But the 2 teams that I'm going to focus on are 2 teams that I think a lot of people don't think much of, and that's Jenkins, who's 5-0, Leslie County, who's 4-1. These are 2 teams, and I've seen Leslie County play. I did see Winston play on the D&D Sports Network. Am I wrong to say this? I think those 2 teams are just as good as anybody in this region. Leslie County is huge. I've never seen a Leslie County team with 3 or more 6-foot guys on their team. They only got 1 senior, 1 junior, everybody's sophomore and freshman, but they're so athletic. John's got a really nice team down there, and then Winston has got an experienced team, one that he's been waiting for there since he arrived.
Yeah, both of those clubs, and also they're well coached and they play extremely hard. Jenkins is long and athletic. John's team is long and athletic, and they've made their district even harder. Both those districts are going to be really hard to get out of, and seeding will be a big part of that on getting to the regional tournament. And that's a big thing this year. Getting to the region will be a step toward winning it because you have so many good teams, and that's the biggest part. And then once you get there, you need to take care of business. I don't think there'll be an easy draw in the first round. So it'd be one of those that got Hazard, and then there's 7 teams that could be in the finals with Hazard.
A lot of balance.
And it's one of those things. Powell's playing very well. Estill, and like you said, Jenkins and Leslie. And you can't forget Letcher. I've watched them several times on D&D, and they play very hard, and they've got some talented players and some big wins. Jenkins traveled to Belfry and beat them. I thought that was a real good win. So like I said, it's March Madness
in December.
Right, it'll be a good one, and I just hope we're part of it and have opportunity to play for a regional title.
Yeah, this year's tournament's at Knox County for the region. If nobody didn't know that, I think a lot of people did. But the All A's at the semifinals and championship boys and girls is at Wolfe County. I'm correct?
No, it's at Lee County.
Yeah, that's right. It was at Wolfe last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, Lee County is the boys, and if I'm not bad mistaken, maybe the girls is at Leslie. I don't know.
Okay. All right, I just know that.
I know. You spoke of Leslie County, their coach. I watched him play against Shelby Valley in the DJ Begley Classic. They come close to winning that. They had a really good opportunity. I think they just made some mistakes down near the end of that game. They almost beat Shelby Valley.
Yeah,
Shelby Valley's well coached, got a good team.
Yeah. And that's what you can say about 99% of the teams now. They're well coached and they've got good teams, and it's just a little bit like college basketball. Everything's spread out now, and it's one of those deals. If you don't show up on one game night, you could be going home.
Coach, you've been around a long time. I've known you a long time. You coach boys, girls. Don't matter what you coach, you've been successful at it. I don't think I've ever asked you this question. I might have you because you said it was a little different for both. What's more harder to coach, boys or girls? Because it seems to me that, there's a difference in the two. Because, boys listen sometimes, girls listen sometimes, but the boy, tell me what you think the difference is.
Really, when I first got into coaching girls, it was different. But now the girls has evolved so much that, you get them playing like a bunch of boys, and that's what most of our girls teams do nowadays around here.
You're exactly right. I've noticed that.
The
WNBA's helped that a lot with.
The only difference,
Clark.
Girls play below the rim most of the time, and boys are playing above it or at it. But other than that, this day and age, there's so many different programs for girls to play in that they've evolved. Girls basketball is if you've got 2 good girls teams playing, they're awful fun to watch. And boys sometimes are a little more stubborn than girls because they'll go out and maybe do things a little bit different than what you want them to. But it's pretty much a toss up now.
I know. I've been around both. I've seen some great coaches coach some great kids, and it's a lot different. Coach, you got a senior-oriented team. Everybody knows that. You're led by one of the top players, and not just in the mountains in the state of Kentucky, and Austin Sperry. Austin's really has come along, but I saw some stuff the other night that Austin's really becoming a lot better facilitator. Finding the open man. You guys did a really good job in the second game. He did a really good job of finding the open person inside. Talk about him. We know about his offensive game, but talk about how he's become more of a leader on the floor.
Well, he has. He's a little more patient. And that's the thing. And Austin, when he lets the game come to him, he's a whole lot better player. And he's going to see triple and double teams all the time. And he's still nursing a bad elbow. His left elbow is still giving him trouble at times. And but if you have to be injured. It's better to be injured in December than it is in February and March. And,
yeah, much.
as he evolves this year and becomes even a better floor general for us or a floor leader, whatever you want to call it, I think that'll show improvement of other players. And, it's just one of those deals where they've played together quite a bit. We had a good summer, and hopefully, we get back healthy and play and even get more used to each other, and we'll be right there.
Looking at your schedule, you'll be back on the floor not till Tuesday night when you got the Wolf County game, of course, you mentioned. Then you're going to play Friday and Saturday at Rowland County. Then you're going to Florida? Are you going to Florida after the Christmas?
Yeah, we're going to Florida. We're going to play at the Sandestin Classic, and we're matched up with a team out of Alabama. They're pretty athletic. That'll be a good time for the team to bond and come together and have a good time right in the middle of the year. These seniors and our underclassmen can get together and make for a good 4 or 5 days and enjoy their time with their family, after Christmas it's one of those. It's a real good tournament. Coach Noble's team is down there. Our girls is going as well. Several teams that we know. So I'm looking forward to that. And we play a tough Christian County team Friday night. The records don't show that, but they've lost to teams that are really, really good down in Western Kentucky, and they play a different style. And then we got Rowell, who just beat Newport the other day. We've got them Saturday at 2. So this schedule is either going to make or break us, and I think it'll make us toward the end just playing good teams.
Yeah, I see you play Harlan County later in the year. You got your 2 matchup. You got matchups with Letcher and Knott. You got
Prairie Central.
Play Prairie later in the year. You got Floyd Central, who's pretty good. Jackson City, who's not bad. I mean, to play a little bit. Wolf County again. So you got a lot of games. So yeah, the Florida trip is anytime you can bond, Coach. I always tell everybody this. Anytime you can bond as a team. And it's a lot of fun. I know Prairie Central, we're going to Gatlinburg this coming week. So boys and girls. So it's going to be a lot of fun. A chance for all of us to bond, have a good time down there. I love the Gatlinburg tournament, but I love going to Gatlinburg down there when it's Christmas time because it's so beautiful down there. And then we're going to E-Town. And I understood it. Did you play in that tournament last year or something?
We played at Owensboro.
Oh, no, we're going to E-Town the 27th, 28th, and 29th. We're going to be down there for a tournament.
Well, you got a lot of good basketball coming up then. That is a great trip to Gatlinburg. Vision boards. It's beautiful this time of year with all the lights and so
it's unbelievable. Yep, it's tournament time for a lot of these schools that's going to be traveling and stuff. And
going on.
Yeah, but, I mean, I like this time of year too because I think you see some good tournaments, not just in Kentucky. Because you got some of the big tournaments coming up, King of the Bluegrass. Lexington Catholic has their big tournament. Some of the bigger ones are Ashland Invitational. So, yeah, it's a big time, and it's always a great time. Sandra, anything else you want to ask Coach before we let him go?
You're getting a lot of good play out of your bench, Coach, and that's going to be key down, as the season gets further along and down at tournament time. Brantley's come on and playing really well for you. And I think Austin McInnes, he's going to be there. He's just seems to be struggling right now, but he's going to be there, I believe. I think he'll be key to your team later on this year. and of course Peyton. But they're having to step into starting roles right now. But I mean, they've been playing well coming off the bench.
Yeah, they have. They've, and it's a different look for them too. Stepping up a level. The speed of the game, the physicality, and then being called upon to produce before, right off the bat, instead of sitting on the bench and getting a little while to look and see how the game's being played and what's going on. It's a different role for them, but I think they've embraced it and done a good job with it. And like I said, I think we'll get better as the year goes on, and I know we will. And it's one of those deals that you can't look at your schedule. You just got to look and see if you're improving. And
Right.
and then
Me and CJ were talking about that earlier about having a good bench, a deep bench that can be very beneficial and crucial as we get further along in the season.
And that's the one thing that Hazard. Everybody talks about Evan Shawn and Seth and Dalton, but Johnson stepped in there. Higgins was hurt.
He had some big key buckets and rebounds.
Kincaid coming off the bench played well for him. Rich
Beverly,
solid at the point. He does a job, and looking at it, it just will help your bench all along. We'll need that bench down the stretch. Getting some tough games and foul trouble and stuff. So, you got to be patient.
And listen, Prairie Central, you better not overlook Prairie Central.
Well,
I think they got a little bit overlooked last year, and look what happened to them.
Yeah,
that Bacon kid is playing really good for them.
Yeah, they're a different animal than most of us. They got 5 guards. They all can not only shoot the three, but a lot of people talk about shooting it. They make it, and that's a difference. And Knott County. Don't forget about them. They're if they're there and at their place, they've got a deep bench and
they're very athletic too.
Very athletic, long. I tell you what, it'll be a fan's delight come the time for the regional tournament. I look for a lot of great games.
Yeah. Well, Coach, you're my favorite. One of my favorites. Always love to have you on the show. Good luck to you and your guys. I'm a little jealous you get to go to Florida. And it'd be so nice to go at this time. But I know you guys will have
a place on the bus.
Find a little place for me, Coach. Get me in there. But good luck to you guys. Again, they play Wolfe County on Tuesday night down in Wolfe County. You want to check them out? You can do that.
Should be a battle.
Should be a war. Yep.
Yeah.
Coach, thank you so much. Congratulations so far, and good luck to the rest of the season.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on the show. And I can't say enough about the coverage you give to our student athletes and promoting our sport, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you, Coach.
Coach, we'll see you around.
You all have a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to you, Coach.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Coach Jeff Honeycutt of the Breathitt County Bobcats. Now joining us, another great guy. Great guys everywhere. You just can't beat them with a stick because they're all over the place. Mr. Travis Smith with us from Owsely County, Lady Owls. Coach, good to have you with us.
It's good to be here, CJ. Glad to be on with you tonight.
Yeah, you not played a lot of games. I'm jealous. You've only played 3. I was looking at your schedule. Oh, you played 4 actually.
But 3 this past week, didn't you?
Yeah, well,
Yes.
I know. Being the defending champion has to be a little different now because, in the past you was chasing it and then you finally got the brass ring. It's yours until somebody can beat you.
Or put a target on their back now.
And I still think you're – I think you're one of the best teams in this region. This region's weird, though, because I've seen Knott play this week. I saw Perry play. I saw what Hazard did to Leslie. I saw yesterday where Hazard killed Estill. I just don't these teams that are – I think Leslie County's a lot better when they play. They had a very rough night against Hazard. But talk about this region because I feel that It's not. Nobody's talking about it. They're talking about the boys. They're not much talking about the girls.
I just think there's a lot of parity in the region right now. I think from 1 to 8 or so, it's a lot different than it was in the past few years, where I thought you had 1 through 4 was probably a step above everybody else, and I just don't think we've got that this year. I think there's just a whole lot of teams out there that can beat each other, and as the year goes on, I think that's what you'll see. You'll see Hazard knock somebody off, and Knott's got a nice team. Leslie's dangerous. Perry is dangerous. I like that Estill County team. I think they're dangerous. Breathitt. So I just think there's a lot of parity out there in the region right now, and just see which teams improve between now and then, and who's playing the best at the end of the year, and that may be what it comes down to.
You had to replace several kids that were very valuable to you. He's been with you so long and played so many years. But you got some good kids back. Now, you've yet to really hit the meat of your schedule. You did play a good Whitley County team who I saw was undefeated. And you can tell me more about them, because I didn't know. Everybody focuses in the 13th on Corbin, Knox Central, and North Laurel. But apparently Whitley County must be for real, because they beat you, and I was surprised by that score, Coach, because I know your team's better than that.
Yeah, well, the game was a lot closer than that. It was 10 at halftime, and, it was a 8-9 point game in the third quarter, and 10-12 points with about 3 to go in the third quarter. And I think it was just 15-16 going into the fourth, and then we just kind of let them stretch it out at the end. But now Whitley, whether people's talking about them or not, I think they're right up there with Corbin and Knox and those teams.
And
what I've seen of North this week, until they come back down a little bit, they're a little step above everybody over there right now, I think.
I've never seen a team win 3 games in the Mountain Classic 80, and 70. And they only gave up like 20 and 30.
Well, yeah, I think people were, they lost 3 seniors and 3 starters, but at the same time, they brought back their point guard. They brought back arguably the best player in the region, in the Nicholson girl. They got the Sizemore girl back, who had set out a year, who was a couple year starter there. So, she was able to come right back in and fit in. They got a couple, transfers. And the Claybrook girl that's probably 6'2", 6'3", that can handle the ball. I mean, they go deep into the bench. They're, they're a really nice team right now and playing really well for this early in the year.
Mm-hmm. I was so amazed by them this week, because they done something that very few girls teams you'll see do. They held a team to 2 points for an entire half. Prestonsburg only had 2 points at halftime.
Wow.
And they had like 45 or 50. I mean, it was. But I mean, Prestonsburg wouldn't get any shots. They shot all kinds of shots. They just didn't hit any of them, and that just tells you the caliber of what North Laurel is.
Yeah.
Your team, I know you're listed with you only got 6-7 players. I mean, 8 or 9 players listed, but I know you got more kids than that, Coach, because you got a lot of kids that you're trying to develop and make fit your program. But now, we know that Macy and a couple others, really good players that can play. Talk about some kids that we're not talking about that we need to keep our eye on, because I feel like you got some kids that can be some breakout players.
Yeah, I think everybody knows about Macy and what she can do. She's kind of like a walking triple double all the time. So, but I think people's going to be surprised at how good Kenzie Grubb is. 6th man on last year's team. Just a knockdown shooter. Handles the ball well. Finishes both hands. She's kind of transitioned into that point guard role right now, and it's doing really good. She had a little double for us at Powell County, 11 and 10 the other night. It's playing really well. Then, of course, our other sophomore, Camilla Markham, who came in from South Laurel last year and played some minutes with that team. I don't think anybody knows much about her game at all. I think they'll find out. She's averaging a double-double right now. Can shoot the ball, out 3-point range, and is about 6 foot tall. Scores inside and out, and I think she's going to, she's one of those players I think you'll see slide into that top 10 players. Now, if not by the end of the year, when preseason comes out next year, I think you'll see that. And, then we've got Delaney, my youngest, she's coming in, and she's never played varsity minutes, but she's got a lot of experience, and she's kind of slid into that 2-guard role. She's shooting the ball really well right now. I think she had 10 at Powell the other night, and then had 8 against a really good Bull County team yesterday. So, we got a couple more young players, Harley Dooley and Kylie Taylor and Lauren Gay, that are giving us good minutes. We're short on the bench, but everybody that we've got can play. And
has that been a problem yet, Travis? Like foul trouble and?
Well, not really. At some point it may be, but at the same time, most teams don't play over 7 anyway, and all 7 of ours can play. So even though you worry about foul trouble, especially with certain players. I don't know that it'll be a huge factor throughout the year. And then next year we've got 10 middle schoolers coming to us that we're really excited about, and our numbers.
The future is looking even very promising.
Yes.
Did you go on a holiday trip here pretty soon, Travis?
Yeah, we rotate back and forth. We were in Florida last year, and we're doing Gatlinburg this year. We leave on Wednesday and play Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
You're copying us because Perry Citrus leaving Wednesday too.
Oh yeah, we'll be down there together.
Is your boys going?
No, our boys is not going this year. They went last year, and they're taking a year off. But we're still going to take our girls down, and it's always good to get them separated and let them have some alone time and team bonding, and
love it.
Sometimes that's more important than the basketball this time of year.
Now, are you going anywhere after Christmas?
Yeah, after Christmas we're playing in Breathitt's holiday tournament.
Oh, I love that tournament. Listen, yeah. I know you played it many times, Travis, but whenever the Berea people would call us when I was at Leslie, when they used to call us, I was tickled to death we get to go play a game. You're guaranteed a lot of times 4 games. You're going to play some really good competition. I love playing in Berea's gym. I don't even mind playing in the gym above the right on the top of the main arena. I love that tournament. I'm a huge fan of the Berea tournament. I love it. It's just so much fun.
There's some really good teams down there. We're we'll catch up on our games played here over the next. We'll have 6 or 7. No bad luck within the next about 10 days or so.
Well, it's going to be a busy week for you all.
It will be a busy week. Usually after Christmas, you kind of know what you are by that time.
Yeah, you got Lee County before you leave on Wednesday too.
Talk a little bit about that team, Travis. They are on the up. They have. They're only. I noticed today in some stats I was looking at. They are only 5 points away from being 3-0.
Yeah, they're like us. They've only played 3 games. Lost a heartbreaker to Wolf County on a last-second shot. Lost to Berea at home, and I think they led 3.5 quarters of that game.
They have some experience back too.
They've got. They lost one senior off last year's team, so they returned pretty much everything off that team, and they've got some size, some guards, and can shoot the ball.
I noticed their top 2 rebounders are averaging like double-figure rebounds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they'll be one of the bigger teams in the region, outside of maybe us and Knott County. I think probably are the only 2 teams that would be actually bigger than they are.
I look at your district coach, and I'm Estill's off to a rough start. Powell's 0-7. I don't know if they're having injury problems or what's going on there. I'm surprised by that. But Estill's has not played coming out of the gates. Hazard being pretty solid yesterday, but we saw Estill play their best basketball at the end of the year last year. And hosting that region was big for them. And this year's region is at Hazard. So, we talk about how important it is, not how you play now. It's what you're playing when you get close to the end of January and February and March, because it seemed like that, we mentioned Prairie Central and the boys last year. Was they the best team? They were a good team, but they were playing the best basketball at that time. And Estill County was playing the best basketball at that time. A lot of people, when they looked at the finals, they said Estill and Owsely. It was like Owsely's supposed to be there. Estill wasn't, but Estill was playing the best basketball at that time.
When we went and looked at that bracket, though, we kind of had thought that it may come down if we could get there to Estill being there with us. They had the way their matchups fell and the way they're playing at the end of the year. I mean, we were 1 point ahead of them with maybe 3 to go last year.
It was a great game.
Harley had a couple big shots
went either
in the
way.
district.
It was
So, they were, they were playing really, really good basketball at that time. The Baker kid that graduated had come into her own and was, playing really good basketball at that time. And
they have one of their best players back, don't they, Travis?
They have got they bring back their fullback court, Snowden and Hale and Skinner, and then they got the JC Long that set out last year with a knee injury.
That's who I thought it was. Yeah.
Well,
that'd be tough.
Yeah, they're one of those teams out there that's in that 7 or 8 that can beat anybody on any given night.
Yeah.
One tournament too that you'll be focusing on after you get down with Gatlinburg and Berea, you'll have a week or two, then the LA. And, I haven't saw the bracket yet, and I think they're telling me the girls' semis and championship is going to be at Lee, Leslie.
Lee.
The boys is going to be at Lee, or is both of them going to be at Lee?
The girls is at Lee for sure.
For sure. Okay.
Yes.
So, because Coach Honeycutt was trying to tell us where the boys and girls tournaments were at. I haven't seen the bracket, so can you give maybe an insight to the people out there where some teams are? Where's your team at? And as we get ready, I know that tournament's in January, but it's always good to talk about it now because we won't see nobody until January.
The bottom side of that bracket, which where we're at, we play Lee in the first round.
Oh wow, that's tough.
At Lee.
No, it will be at Owsely.
Oh, okay.
First round will be at Owsely. We're the home team. The winner of that game will play Gene Buchanan in the second round. And then you've got Breathitt and Wolf that's down below us farther. That will be one of those two will be in the semifinals to face Gene Buchanan, us, or Lee.
And Leslie plays not in the first game?
Leslie is up top with Knott, and Hazard is up top.
Some good teams.
Some very good teams. Well,
very
in our region, you've got everybody.
Being all A.
You got everybody, Letcher, Perry, and Estill, Powell. Is that the only 4 not in?
Yeah.
So,
and Perry plays in the 2A.
Yeah.
And I don't know why the other 3 schools don't play in the 3A or 2A either. I think it's a good event. And this year's tournament, all A has been moved. If you win, you're not going to Corbin. Going to Owensboro, where both the 2 and the 3A tournaments are going to be at the same place. Do you know why they switched? Any idea why they switched the tournament site?
I think it was a finance issue.
I know they didn't get as what they thought they were going to get at Corbin.
Yeah,
and I think that was a little sad because that's a good arena and it was a good place. Yeah, you played there, So I mean, it's just sad that they couldn't keep it closer to home. But I mean, it's another bonding trip because opportunity, much like when it was in Frankfurt. Now you're going to Owensboro, so I know my destination. I'm going to sound bad on destination here, but that's about the same destination if he was going from Frankfurt to Owensboro. So
yeah.
so it'll be whoever wins this region all A's will have a fun trip to Owensboro. So that'd be fun.
Corbin was interesting because it gave us, it turned out good for us playing in that arena like that. The way it was set up, it gave us a little. Obviously, it's not Rupp Arena, but at the same time, it did have that feel of the way the court's set and the goals and all that. But that Owensboro, the sports center down there it's really nice. One of the nicest high school gyms in the state. So
I've heard a lot about it.
It's a beautiful facility.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about it. They say it's one of the nicest places ever. Sandra, you have more questions for Coach? Because I got two more, and I want to make sure you didn't miss anything you wanted to ask you.
I'll go ahead. I'll if I come up with one, I'll.
Okay. Coach, it had to be the greatest feeling ever to play in Rupp Arena last year, and the girls' tournaments really revolved into a really great showcase for the ladies. Even though Sacred Heart has won 3 consecutive, but talk about that, how your community and your team, how that felt to go, because people don't understand sometimes. There's a lot of things that come and go with this. I mean, it's the greatest feeling ever, but when you step on that floor, it's like then you're overwhelmed because it's different from no other feeling ever.
Yeah, he was unbelievable for that group of seniors that had worked so hard, and we'd been really close in the past 3 or 4 years, and I think it was the community. It was just huge for community as a whole because there was so many players and coaches that had been close, and nobody had ever been able to actually do it. And the number of players that either sent messages or called, and a lot of them said it just kind of removed the sting from their losses over the years. And
they've been some really good boys programs at Owsely back in the past. That
I mean, Charlie Turner's
called went either way, one way or the other. They could have made the state tournament.
Yeah. I mean, we've had our shots over the years, and being in finals and all that, and we lost one, a heartbreaker to Letcher on a last second shot a couple years ago, and then but just to get there and get to walk on the floor and be there in Rupp Arena with that group of kids that we had started when they were in first, second grade and brought up through our system, and it was just a special time, not only for us, the community, the school. We had a lot of the school members that said it was just something that the community needed at the time, a morale booster, and it just came at a really good time and for a really special group of kids, and it was it's one of those things you'll never forget.
Well, having your daughter on the team, both daughters, that just that's special in itself.
Yeah,
to have that passed along later on.
I had coached Carly since she was in kindergarten, and the last time that she'll play the game, the last time I'll coach her, was on Rupp Arena's floor, and you don't want it to come to an end, but if it's going to, that's the place for it to happen.
Yeah.
No question about it. That was so special. We'll see you guys down there. Well, watching you celebrate after the region, I know, anytime you get to go to Rupp Arena, it's unbelievable. But you got a chance, I think, to go back again. This region's wide open, Coach. I don't think that, as we say, who's ever playing the best basketball at the end will be there. And this is going to be an exciting tournament at the Hazard this year, and I'm looking forward to it because I think it's going to be one of those.
The key could be what your what your seed is once you get in the region.
Yeah, we're playing the same schedule we played last year. Wheatley County was a tough team, really tough. The Bolton County team, we went to South Laurel and played yesterday. Really, really good team. So we're going to put these, the kids in all these situations and try to, keep them improving throughout the year and, growing a little bit here and a little bit there. And hopefully at the end of the year, we're healthy. That's a key. Get a good draw, shooting the ball well at the time. There's just so many things that comes into it. It's a long distance, not a sprint, between here and regional tournament time. And, I love this team that I've got and this group of kids that, they're really special. And like I said, we're one of the biggest teams in the region. So they, that's always a big factor. Size, you just can't teach it, and skill level with that we've got with Macy and Kinsey. An inside out punch, and Camille that's about 6 foot that can shoot the ball inside and out. And we just have to grow and hope we're healthy, and like you said, hope we're playing good at the right time.
Yeah. As I'm looking at your schedule, you got the Lady Hawk shootout later in the year. You got the All A. I see a cancellation with Estill. Is that going to be made up later?
It must be a mistake if it's a cancellation with Estill.
Cancellation with Estill because you have 2 games on the 25th. You had Lee County on the 25th and Estill on the 25th. I'm sorry. It says the 28th you were supposed to play Estill, but beside it has canceled.
I'll have to go back and look at that. I'm glad you told me.
This coming the 28th?
No, it's in January. I was just up because he also it's the Donnie Gray shootout. Is that something new you're playing in?
It is. We're going over to Clay County to play in that, and we're going to be playing Harlan.
Harlan's a good team.
Harlan's a really good team.
They help. Remind me a lot of your team from last year. Harlan does.
Yeah, they're a really good team. We got Corbin coming up at the end of the year. Also, we go to Corbin. We're playing basically the same schedule we did last year. We had North Laurel on last year. The last couple of years couldn't work out a date. Both of us wanted to play, but we just couldn't make something fit. But we as usual, we're playing a really tough schedule, and you hope that makes your kids ready at the end of the year.
Coach Smith, is the Bobby Bowling Classic going on again this year?
We're actually going to take a 1-year break from that. There's just so many classics going on right now. It was just really hard to fill teams. So we're going to take a 1-year break from it and try to get that started back next year.
All right, Coach. The only other thing is I've never looked at Owsely County schedule and never seen Leslie County, never on it. You two have always played every year. From when Coach Wilson was coach all the way. I know it's hard to fit everybody on schedule, but it is a little sad to look on there and not see Leslie County playing you guys because that was always a regular season game. It was always a fun trip to come to Boonville.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I don't know how that happened. It wasn't nothing that I don't think.
I don't think when you and Olivia either one, it just look here. You can only schedule 25, 30 games, and when you're trying to schedule, sometimes you forget. Listen, I always hear Coach Wilson say this. He had his core 14 teams that he loved to play, and you saw them on the schedule every year, and then you would see a couple of new teams every once in a while. But you guaranteed Owsely County was going to be on that schedule.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that worked out this year. It's probably a 1-year thing. I'm sure we'll play next year.
No, I'm hoping you guys, both boys, because I know you boys went over. The boys already went over there this year, and that was surprising because I always see the girls and boys always play Owsely. I know that wasn't nothing on this. Somebody you can only schedule so many games, so you never know. You may have weather problems. Something might get canceled. She may get canceled. Maybe you guys can still get a regular season game in. But
it's still definitely a possibility.
Well, Coach, I want to thank you so much. Again, I may run into you this coming week down at Gatlinburg. I think we're playing in the same place, so it's going to be a fun week. A lot of fun. I can't wait. You played Lee County though before that, and you will play them on Tuesday night at Lee County. JV varsity starts about 6:00, so check them out over there if you're in that area. Coach, I want to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year in case I don't get to see you this coming week. And you have a great one, and we will talk to you soon.
All right, thank you for
Merry
having me
Christmas,
on
Coach.
and all the
I'll
promotion
try,
that you do for our kids.
I'll try to
Yeah.
get over there and watch you.
Yeah,
Anytime.
come over.
Anytime, Travis. Anytime you need anything, give me a holler.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you, Travis. Travis Smith of the Owsely County Lady Owls as he gets set to gets Lee County on Tuesday night, and he's going to be in Gatlinburg with Prairie Central, the boys and girls, also this coming week, as a lot of these Christmas tournaments get hooked up. So a lot going on. Jeff Drummond will be with us now. He snuck in on me. This is a crafty man now. I have to keep an eye on him. Sometimes he just wiggles his way in there, and I'm like, wow, he's right there with me. The brain to the operation. I turned it over to him. All I need is to throw him a couple questions, and he's just gonna keep us informed. Huh?
If I can get myself centered in there.
Jeff Drummond with us. Jeff, great to have you with us. We've got a ton of stuff to talk about. I'm going to save football for last because I've got a lot of complaints and and I know you got all the answers. But let's start with basketball. I tell you what, I'm excited about our two teams, the women and the men. I tell you what, I don't know if it's been a long time since when was the last time that both these teams were 10-win teams?
That's
and only had one loss.
rare, very rare, if ever.
I don't know if it's ever happened because we've never started seasons in the second week of November. You know, I think that's a big part of it. Pretty soon we're going to be playing in August, college basketball.
Don't say
I
that.
am a stickler for the old way, and I'm going to sound like old guy yelling at a cloud here. But I think your first big game of the college basketball season should always be that first Saturday in December. Let us
Amen, brother. I'm all for you. Listen, there's no football should be the entire focus of November, and then that first week in December, you can come out and let them go, let them have all they want to play.
But Mark Pope just told us this week he wants the NCAA moving towards 40 games allowed. So
I heard that. I saw that. Yeah.
And you know what?
I kind of like
the big
that.
thing too is that Jeff, he didn't make this schedule. This schedule was made for him. This is not. We're not even going to know some of these teams next year when Coach Pope puts them on the schedule. It's going to be. Even the women's coach. I expect neither coach they just inherited the schedule that they were already, but they had no input because they were late comers and stuff like that. But they're going to have their hands all over next year's 25-26 schedule. And you'll see,
He's telling us, though, that he wishes he had a little bit more control of it because of the current rules, the way they're set up. You just don't have any flexibility at all.
Yeah.
I know people don't like them, but you've got to have 6 or 7 of these so-called cupcake games.
Yeah.
Built in there.
They got one left, and it's with Brown.
You need those to work on your team.
Yeah.
So you're not just going to get rid of those no matter what happens. Those are developmental type games. But, he would like to play his old coach, Patino, in a series with St. John's, and they just can't – the way their commitments are set up with the Champions Classic, the CBS Sports Classic, and some of the other home and homes they have lined up, they can't squeeze that in the foreseeable future.
Ain't Indiana, Michigan hitting the schedule next year?
I think so. I know Indiana does.
I know Indiana. That's a home and home game in Louisville and a game in Indianapolis, or is this the Rupp Arena and then the other game will be at Indiana's home floor?
My understanding was that they were going to be legitimate home and home games.
All right.
But I'm not. Don't quote me.
I knew they owed
between us here, right?
I know they owed Michigan a game from 2 years ago when it got canceled because of COVID. And they said they would bring it back either in 25 or 26.
Something in the back of my memory tells me that got wiped out, and they're just not.
All right.
I'm not sure they're going to be playing Michigan again, but I know Indiana's coming on.
Yeah. I was talking about the other day, I would love to see Indiana on our football schedule. I know that'll never happen because people's telling me the Louisville game is probably going to be. This will be the last time we probably play Louisville ever in football after next year. And we'll get into football in a minute, but I hope that's not true because I know that they're going to think about going to 10 conference games and maybe only 3 non-conference. And if they do that, yeah, that's going to get rid of some of these big time rivalry games. But we'll come back to that in a minute. Both teams are 10-1. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, is that right? 10-1.
Yeah.
I know the men are pretty good, but their schedule is going to really start getting tougher because they got Florida, Georgia, Mississippi State, Texas A&M, Alabama, Auburn. So this is going to start getting tougher. But the women are the more of the surprise here because I don't think a lot of people knew what the women were, and they had a few injuries. We thought, well, that might hurt them a little bit. But yesterday, I watched them play. I think they're one of the. I love watching them. They're fun. They get up and down the floor. They're big. They've got good guard play.
I watched them in the Louisville game. I couldn't believe how well they was playing, and they never give up in that game.
Yeah, and one of the bright spots with that bunch and with Kenny Brooks taking over is they've finally got some legitimate size.
Yeah.
On that roster. Bless their hearts, the recent UK teams, they played as hard as they possibly could. They got after it and scrapped and clawed for everything. But then you get into these SEC games or with these other NCAA teams, and they just had big girls. I compare it to the days when I was back covering games in the 13th region, and I covered a lot of scrappy, hard, fought teams in Harlan County, and they would run into Clay County or Jackson County for a while, somebody like that, and it was game over.
And you got to have that mix of length and speed because the game has evolved so much. With Caitlin Clark and then South Carolina and their team and their program, and then the NBA, the WNBA. I mean, you got to have that kind of team.
Yeah, I agree. And he's found some good ones, especially with Strack in the paint for them. They've really hit on a potential gold mine with her. She's just scratching the surface of how good she can be.
Yeah.
And the young lady that transferred from North Carolina, she's doing really well. And Hackett, is that her name? Hackett? The other girl.
Haskett, I think.
Haskett, the other tall girl, yeah.
Yeah.
I look at Purdue was not too bad. Kentucky just wore them out. I mean, they went to Purdue. I mean, and they looked about as impressive as anybody.
That was one of those days, I think, where Kentucky was probably going to give just about anybody short of 4 or 5 teams all that they could handle that day.
Yeah. Louisville's a lot better than I thought. They played a tough schedule. I thought Kentucky played well at times yesterday. They just never could get the one big run they needed, but they got the run enough to win. Butler had a monster game. He had 33, I think 13, 5 assists. Have you think the Cats have hit their ceiling point, or are they still got a lot that they can still grab and get better at?
Well, I don't think they're anywhere close right now. In fact, I had this discussion with somebody after the Duke game. I thought they played about a C or C- game the night that they beat Duke. And I know Duke could probably say some of the same things. That game was played so early in the season. Neither team was at the top. But, they won that game playing at about a C or under. And they won at Gonzaga playing half the game pretty bad. Really good second half, but didn't have a couple of their, key players there. So I think the sky's the limit for this bunch. I don't know yet if I'm ready.
Ohio State's not very good, but I'm worried that we may have a letdown Saturday.
Possibly. Ohio State got embarrassed by Auburn, so we'll probably see their best game of the season, and it's UK, so it's Super Bowl for them. But
let me use an example for that. Last week, Buffalo got, they lost to the Rams pretty bad, and I told a lot of people this week. I said, Buffalo will beat Detroit 3 touchdowns. People thought I was crazy, and what they do today, I mean, wiped them off the map. They didn't look like the same Detroit team that has been 12-1 all year. That's what I'm talking about. These good teams might lose a game that they shouldn't, but the next time they step out on the field or the court, they've learned from their mistakes and they're better. Kentucky's one of those teams because I feel like Clemson game, they didn't, it's good they lost. Yeah, you got to lose. You can't. You weren't going to go undefeated. Clemson was not. They're not bad. They're not good, but they're bad. But I feel like each game Kentucky plays, they get just a tad better. And I'm like you. I think they still got a strong. This stretch of games early in the conference will really tell you what Kentucky will be in the tournament.
Yeah, and I think my biggest thing going in when they start SEC play is the gauntlet that all these teams are going to have to face, and the fact that it's not going to be like in the old days where we looked at it and said you got to be 12-3, 13-2, whatever those records. Of course, you're playing more games now, so those numbers are off anyway. But we're looking at a league this year where I think somebody may win this thing with 5 losses.
Yeah,
I agree.
Somebody might be a Final Four contender with 7 or 8 conference losses.
Yeah,
it's that good.
Yeah, I agree. Agree 100%.
And they're going to have fun probably at the end of the year picking who's going to be in the tournament because that's how good the SEC is going to be this year.
But you look at the SEC, right now they've got ranked teams. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 8?
8 or 9, I think it was.
8 or 9. So I mean, are all 9 going to be in the tournament?
I think all but 3 were getting votes.
Yeah,
13 out of 16.
Where did Ole Miss come from?
A little bit of a sleeper there, but they're not to be slept on any longer. That's for sure.
Yeah,
they upset someone earlier in the week.
It's amazing that Mississippi State and Ole Miss both are ranked. Mississippi State's ranked 25th, and Ole Miss is ranked 19th. Well, I don't know what they are today because these are rankings from the past week. But to have two Mississippi schools ranked in the top 25, that's impressive because you would have thought.
It happens often.
Because you got, and then the 2 new schools, Oklahoma and Texas, I mean, they're dangerous.
The one that jumps out at me, and that seemingly nobody's talking about this team, Florida.
Yeah, and that's Kentucky's first conference game in 2 weeks.
That's the first one. They might be a top 10 team, and they're going to come into Rupp the first game, and I think that's like 11 o'clock in the morning tip-off.
Wow.
Don't Florida have a big game coming up this week? But they play somebody really big.
I'm not familiar with their schedule outside of that first game against Kentucky, but
yeah,
that's going to be a real tone setter, especially in this league where you're going to lose games on the road in the SEC this season. People have to get used to that and just accept it because it's going to happen. You're going to take your lumps, but those home games have to be treated like, you're protecting your territory for your life. And that first one, that could be an absolute dogfight with the Gators.
That game in Georgia is going to be tough. I mean, we don't play well in Georgia.
They all are. You could name any of them you want. There is not.
It's not an easy game in the conference. You got listen.
From Vanderbilt, the worst team in the conference, and they're not bad.
Probably the worst in the conference, and they still got 8 or 9 wins. No, 7, 8 wins. So yeah, you're all over that. But the game that everybody's looking forward to is January 26th, and you know that because
guys, I'm sorry, I just checked, and Florida plays North Carolina on the 17th.
I knew they had a big game this week with somebody. Okay. I knew it.
10-0.
So
and it's at North Carolina, I think.
Putting their undefeated record on the line, so it's going to be big for them That's why I thought Kentucky may have a letdown before they play Florida.
Would you rather them win that game or lose it before they come to Kentucky?
I want them undefeated so we can say that.
So
I think I'd rather have them undefeated.
So Florida plays Kentucky and North Carolina back to back. Is that how that's going, reckon?
Let's
Wow.
see. No, they play Ohio State. Then Kentucky's got a game with Brown. Is that right?
No, I'm talking about Florida.
Florida. I think they got one game before they play Kentucky.
That seems like it'd be a long layoff.
Yeah, that's not. They have another game, but I still remember who it's with. I'd have to look that up and Florida's schedule and look that up because I think
I just did. They don't play again until the 17th. They play the 14th. Okay, they do play the 14th. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, that was yesterday, wasn't it?
Okay.
Yeah, so.
All right. You're right. So they don't play again until the 7th. They play the 17th at North. It's at Charlotte. They play.
Anyway, I hope they're still undefeated because I know Kentucky only has what is it Ohio State, then they play Brown, and then they play the game is Florida, right?
I don't have it in front of me, but that sounds right.
Yeah. Because I know Brown's the last non-conference game of the year.
There's one more tune-up game, and that's it. Yeah.
And then the women, they don't play their two biggest games till end of the year, and they have a great chance of because they don't play South Carolina until March 2nd. They don't play LSU. Tennessee and LSU. They got LSU on February 23rd, and they got Tennessee on February 27th, and then South Carolina on March 2nd. So I think the women has a great chance of having a great conference record, and they're like the men. They need to take care of home court.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see once they get into conference play, how everything stacks up and how they react to those battles. But I think they're going to be ready. They're tested. They've played some good people already to find out, where they are and where the weaknesses might be.
And by the way, Memorial Coliseum is beautiful.
It is fantastic.
I love everything they've redone in there. If they ever had to play the Sweet 16 there, I wouldn't be one bit disappointed.
I don't know if I'd mentioned that to you before, but the project manager on that was a former Harlan Green Dragon.
Wow.
Cole Combs. And I'd give him a shout out there because that place is gorgeous. And I know he put incredible amounts of time into working with those guys and making sure that it was worthy of, the Memorial Coliseum, what it ought to be. And it's a great place for the women now. The women and the volleyball team have a fantastic, almost on a smaller scale, it's an NBA caliber setting in there now.
Oh, I love it. I love the new changes and everything. It's so beautiful. So beautiful. Okay, now we got to go from something beautiful to awful. I'm hearing a rumor, and I'm hoping it's not true because if it is, then there's no hope for Kentucky football at all next year. Vince Morrow is being, Bill Belichick wants him to be the new recording coordinator at North Carolina.
I hadn't heard that.
It's big. I know everybody's talking about it. I know Jeff will know more about it because it's been the talk of the town. I hope he turns it down and stays because I think we can get back on track. Just listen. I still like Coach Stoops. Did I want to see him go? It's gonna be hard. Listen, we can't fire every coach when we have one losing season. But now the last 3 seasons have not been to par. So what do we have to do to turn this around? I know we got the same schedule as last year, but the games are different dates. Like we played Ole Miss in week 4. This year we played Ole Miss in week 2. We played Vanderbilt in week 3, and now we don't play Vanderbilt until week 10. The open day, this is the one thing that was so crazy about UK schedule the other day when they put it out. They play a game, they have an open day. They play a game, then they have another open date. Then they play the final 7 games without an open day. How crazy is that?
Well, what you're seeing there is the typical disregard from the SEC for Kentucky football. And they got the shaft on this schedule when the divisions broke up and they added Texas and Oklahoma. They got the short end of the stick in a big way. Very few teams in the country played 4 teams like Kentucky drew this season. Absolutely monsters. And they've got to play them again next year. Nobody's going to cry for them because everybody in the SEC plays a hard schedule in one fashion or another. But you've got to look at those open dates and say, did they just throw these in here at random? Were they trying to make sure?
I've never heard of 2 open dates.
Look at this one. You open up with Toledo, then you play Ole Miss. You don't know what Ole Miss is going to be. So you got Eastern Michigan, then you got an open date, which you'll need an open date to go to South Carolina and Georgia back-to-back. Then you got another open date. Then you got Texas, Tennessee, Auburn, and Florida back-to-back. You would have loved to have that open date sandwiched in there between, Auburn and Florida?
Yeah.
I mean,
usually you want it to where you have a chance to heal up from the rigors of the season a little bit.
Yeah.
But I would add, Kentucky's got an abysmal record coming off the open date under Stoops. So maybe this will work out, because it's not working the traditional way.
Nope.
And having it, maybe getting it early in the season's better than we think.
what about the Vince situation? Do you think he leaves? Do you think he stays? What do you think there?
This is about the 7th time we've had this. I guess I'm in the category of I'll believe it when I see it, because we've had this flirtation. Remember when Patino was going to the pros every year?
Yeah.
And
Calipari for a while.
We were numb to it.
Yeah.
Until he finally did it. So Vince may finally do it. What I'm going to look at here, and I do think there's some legs to it. We've got some information that says North Carolina has kind of reached out. We're not completely sure if that offer's been made, but they're testing the waters to see what the interest might be like. If he leaves, though, I will say that is an indication from him that he thinks it's over for this era in Kentucky, because he and Stoops are tight, and they go back a long, long way. If he bails, that's telling everybody right now that this season coming up is a lost cause, and you may have a kind of dead man walking situation.
I thought something was crazy yesterday. I'm looking at the first team, second team SEC thing. Rookie. I saw where Kentucky had a freshman on the second team offensive line. Now, Jeff, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't the offensive line for Kentucky the worst in the conference?
Pretty close.
Probably the worst in the nation.
It was bad. Let's just put it that way.
A couple of seasons ago, it was the best, weren't it?
Yeah.
One of the best.
They had established that reputation under John Sharman as being among the best of the best for year after year after year. But they hit a little lull in recruiting. John Sharman tragically passed away.
I miss him a lot.
From cancer, and they've never filled the void. It's been a revolving door of coaches and players. They thought they could go to the transfer portal this season and plug some holes with veteran guys. They didn't exactly get the best guys they could, particularly the guy they added from Tennessee, Gerald Mincy, just was a total bust. And one of Marcus Cox, who they got the previous season, both of his knees gave him problems. He played on bad wheels all season long. So it was one thing after another. And but as far as that, you talk about Malachi Wood, offensive tackle that got those honors. A lot of times it's so rare for offensive linemen to get to play in the SEC as freshmen that anybody that does it is kind of default in the mix for that all freshman team. He's got outstanding potential. Yeah. It's going to take some time. He got here at like 265 pounds. He's about 320 now. When he gets more bulk and he gets more technique, And I think he's a player to watch for the future.
Yeah.
But I don't put too much stock into those freshman all SEC teams when it comes to linemen.
So we're Barry Brown with LSU. That's a big pickup for them because that, no. You don't think
kick a fantastic kick return specialist?
Yeah.
But very limited football skills.
Yeah.
And we saw that at Kentucky. Just didn't catch enough balls that hit him right in the hands. Didn't make plays on 50-50 balls.
Yep.
When they did get good line play and good throws from the quarterback, didn't come down with the catches. When he did catch it and you needed a run after the catch, you could trip him up by getting 2 fingers on the shoe.
What was that? Was that just a mental thing with him or what?
I just think he's a incredible athlete and one of the best athletes in the league. But, track and field guys are great athletes. They can't necessarily play football. We know it takes a certain mindset, a certain mentality, a certain toughness. And I don't think all that came together for him because, we saw 2 years where he did not make consistent plays when he's at the wide receiver position.
Yeah. Well, I got 2 more questions, then I'm going to let you go. How does Kentucky finish filling their roster? I don't know. You can tell me what the recruiting class is going to know, how many's in the recruiting class and how many's actually going to stay and what they're ranked right now. And is there still enough good players in the portal for Kentucky to be able to establish at least trying to get us back in a bowl game?
Well, there's more than enough. I would not worry about that at all. I think they're going to fill out their spots with a bunch of guys. It's just a matter of can you get the right guys?
Kind of like with the basketball team.
Yes, and I think that's a great point. Mark Pope hit the lottery with the kind of character and veteran leadership.
Plus bringing in the assistants he did.
Yeah, that was big. I still think there's a chance for Stoops to kind of turn things around, save things, but he's got to find some real difference makers, and at least 4 of them have to be O-linemen.
Yeah,
people are debating.
There's some good running backs and receivers and quarterbacks in the portal.
I'm not, and not to discount that at all. When I kind of smile until they get 4 more offensive linemen to come in here. You can have Joe Montana back there and Jerry Rice. What are they going to do if nobody's blocking? Yeah,
you're 100% right. I mean, you got to solve that problem first, and then that's where you have. I don't know much about this class that's coming in. I do. The only one I know a lot about is the kid from Boyle County, the all-purpose kid.
Yeah.
And I think he's gonna be. I think he can be a game changer for the Cats.
I agree with you. I think that's a suitable replacement kind of for Brown too.
He'll start right off the bat, one of the guys.
He's got a shot. Yeah, I think so. They'll have Macklin back. They'll have Gilmore back. Yeah. 2 really talented guys, and surprisingly, I don't know how they pulled this off. But they signed 3 or 4 highly rated wide receiver prospects in this high school class.
Yeah.
That was rated. I think that class is still around 25 or somewhere, really respectable.
That's still not bad.
But
is there any linemen in that class?
Not any that I think are ready to play.
Yeah.
That's a big if. It would be surprising. So they've got to hit the portal and find 3 or 4 offensive linemen to supplement what they'll have coming back.
Yeah, I agree.
JD, go ahead, CJ.
No, go ahead.
That incident yesterday in the Louisville, Kentucky game with Garrison and the was it Waterman? Was it or the how close did that come to being out of hand? Because it was really close.
Well, surprisingly. I went back and after looking at that close, and I had my camera on it, and I probably held that button down for 100 pictures, just rapid fire. All those guys kept their composure pretty well. And the coaches just
and Coach Pope, he gets involved in these little tussles the 2 times that we've had, little incidents like that. He gets right in there and tries to break it up. He needs to go on the WWE.
both coaches just kind of laughed it off and dismissed it. They said, hey, these teams were playing hard. They were getting after it. It was a physical game.
I saw a picture on Facebook this morning. It appeared that Mark Pope had the Louisville coach in a headlock.
Yeah, I thought he was going to give him a noogie there for a second. But all those guys kept their heads. I think it was a matter of somebody said, they were like, "Whoa, Garrison stepped on their guy," but they got to realize he was kind of being wolf pack, but the bench surrounded him. He was losing his balance, and he's kind of getting pushed from behind.
Yeah, how ironic was it that particular sequence happened right in front of the Louisville bench?
Yeah. So
there had
I
to
don't
be
think
some
there was
words.
anything malicious going on there. Louisville fans may feel different, but I went back and watched it, looked at my pictures. I think he was just kind of losing his balance, and
Yeah.
the poor kid on the floor was in the worst position you could be in.
Yeah.
Because his own guys gave him no space.
Yeah, that was tough. Yeah, very, very tough. All right, Jeff. Well, you have answered everything I need to be having answered right now. I do have a favorite from you later towards the end of the season. Instead of you coming on as a guest, I want you to come on and be my co-host because there's a lot of things towards the end that I want to talk about. Football, basketball, baseball be going strong. So if you can fit it in, I'd like you maybe do that for me if you could.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll work it out one way or another.
I'll give you a holler and stuff because, listen, I love having you on here. You and Dave Baker keep me informed on everything that I need to know. And if it weren't for you two, I'd be a little lost. So you guys, you keep me from losing my insanity because at least I know where things are with the program, and you guys put it in perspectives, which I can understand. So
another great American and fellow Reds fan. So maybe me and Buzz will be on at the same time sometime.
You know what? I think I can pull that off. If you want to be my co-host, I can have Dave as a guest, and that would be awesome because that would be a really great, cool segment. Yeah, I think I can pull that off. We'll work on that. I'll put that together. Jeff, Merry Christmas, early Merry Christmas, and a early Happy New Year to you and your family. And you're just a great person, and always love having you. And can't wait till you come back.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. It was a pleasure being on with you as usual. And Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to everybody
Merry Christmas,
down in the mountains.
Yep. Jeff, you have a good one, and we will talk to you very soon.
All right, guys.
You have a good one. Jeff Drummond from Cat's Paws, as he keeps us up informed on Kentucky stuff. And, he's good for mountain sports, too. He knows a lot about the mountains. So, yeah. He's just unbelievable. Great guy.
Good guy
Love
to talk
having
to. He's got a lot of info.
He's very knowledgeable. Very knowledgeable.
Yeah.
Why, having him on the show it's great. Armando was there, and now Armando's gone. So here comes Armando again. With us, Armando Berry from WYMT. Have you rested up any?
Something like that.
I'm sorry.
A little bit, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. Okay, we have a lot to talk about. Let's start with the Mountain Classic. After it's over, I've gave my thoughts and my final rating of the tournament. When I come into the tournament, I was giving it 5 stars. I said, "This is going to be a great game every night. We're not going to have any blowouts. We're going to have some tremendous basketball." Well, that 5-star went all the way down to 2.5 stars because, especially on the girls' games, because I don't. And you know what? That's not none of your guys' fault because you can only invite the teams that can come and play. But when you're when you got a team like North Laurel that wins 3 games by 40 plus, we did get the positive of a great championship boys game. But overall, give me your overall thought of the whole week.
I thought it was a really good week. I think from a competitiveness standpoint, I feel like with the girls, it was a little bit less competitive than a lot of people saw beforehand. I think that's something that's hard to anticipate because you got to think about it. With North, I think at YMT we had them as number 1, but everybody else, they said it after they won the championship. They said that people rated Knox Central as the number 1 team in the 13th region. So going into it, you can't say, it's hard to be like, well, it wasn't as competitive as we expected because people were saying that North Laurel wasn't even the best team. And then they proved that with their performance, hands down, with the girls. But I would say, outside of if you look at the other side of the bracket, they were good games. Anything that did not involve North was a good game. Knox Central and Corbin was a fantastic semifinal.
That was a great game. Yeah, that was probably we're going to see that game again. So I mean,
that was great. Going to the boys' side now, I thought it was a great tournament because Harlan County. First of all, Harlan County, their quarterfinal was close. So was I think all the quarterfinals were close. There was no one who blew anybody out. I mean, the only time they blew someone out, they blew Prestonsburg out. They did blow Breathitt County out. So Hazard, they had the dominant run. But that Harlan County Clay County game was a classic. It was good. And then Hazard and Harlan County was a fantastic game. I mean, that was one of the best games I think I've covered in my career here at YMT. Very fun. Max Huff, was going off. He had a great performance. Evan Eversole obviously had a great performance. Both teams played really, really hard. A lot of great storylines in the game. So I would give it. There were games as far as on the girls' side with North, where it just wasn't even a show at all. So I would say with that, there were definitely games. From a competitiveness standpoint, it wasn't. It was lackluster, but that's not really, people. You can only have so many teams, and North was already kind of like a team that's just in their own by themselves.
And you do have to have that mix of like 13th, 14th, 15th region teams being a part of the tournament.
Right. All right, now we're going
to. Team I would have liked to see in the tournament that was not there was Johnson Central.
Yes.
The 15th region. I think they're a power in the 15th region. They're a local, Johnson County is a mountain county. I would love to see their girls basketball team there because I think they would have. I can't say they would beat this team or that, but I think that wouldn't be any type of game where they would get rolled on if they were to lose. I couldn't see them getting rolled on.
I guess you could consider some of the 16th region teams mountain teams. Is not Rowan County in that region?
No, Rowan County's in the 16th. Johnson County's in the 15th. But yeah, I'm not in the decision-making process with all that stuff. I just cover the TV stuff.
Now, tomorrow you guys will have your first brand new girls and boys top 10s, right?
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see where you shuffled a lot of teams and who you thought, who brought, what teams are going to join you. But I decided today to go ahead and just see where a lot of these teams' record was after 2 weeks.
Okay.
And, I went over this with Sandra and we, I'm going to give you first of all, I'm going to give you my top 10 rankings combined for the week 3. Now, fair being that I know the records of most of every school because I went and looked them up today. But my top 10, my girls' top 10 this week, I've got Southwestern at number 10. I got Pulaski County at number 9, Whitley County at number 8, Letcher Central at number 7, Floyd Central at 6, South Laurel at 5, Corbin at 4, Johnson Central at 3, Knox Central 2, and North Laurel 1. That's my girls. Then my boys, I've got Shelby Valley and Jenkins tied for 10th. I got Pikeville at 9, North Laurel 7, Southwestern 6, Clay County 5, Martin County 4, Harlan County 3, South Laurel 2, and Hazard number 1.
Sounds like some solid list.
Ooh, he's gonna be solid. I like that.
Yeah, I like those looks, but the girls is pretty solid. I have it, like I said, I'm kind of just this. The Mountain Classic was a lot. It was fun. It was a lot. I haven't even looked at a single thing with sports today.
Yeah.
Needed some time just for myself.
Oh yeah, you listen. If you don't have time for yourself, you won't. You gotta take care
get
of it.
rest. Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta have rest. You don't think about it. That's why I'm thinking about it for you.
I was at every single game, so I promise you, it's in there. I'll start looking probably a little bit later tonight before I go to sleep. But sounds like a solid list. I gotta look at some of what's gonna be interesting is the dynamic of the other teams that per se weren't in the classic and had wins and losses, and comparing those to the games that we saw in the classic. I think that's gonna be the fun part because there were some teams who have performed very well, but we're not in the classic. Like I said, like a Johnson Central girls. Like there's other countless boys teams. I think we started out. Well, never mind. We'll say that. But there are teams that had different performances over the past week. That'll be interesting to compare. I feel like now we have something like we talked about last week where we didn't have enough to compare to. Now I feel like we do for sure.
Yeah, we have a lot of nuts and bolts. I was looking at everybody's record today, and I'm standing there, I'm thinking, okay, this is about right. That's right. I went to one team, and I looked at this one team's record, and it said 0-7. I'm thinking, should this team be 0-7?
Who was on 7?
Pikeville Lady Panthers. They have not won a game yet.
Sheesh. Yeah. I remember I heard.
Is their schedule that tough?
Yes. It was very tough.
I haven't looked at it, but I know the first 3 games when they went 0-3, it was Ashland Blazer who was the favorite to win the 16th, and they played Boyd County. I haven't looked at the rest, but I know they played some tough teams. But that's crazy to hear 0-7. I gotta look into a couple.
0-6 actually. They played Ashland Blazer, lost. They played Boyd. They played Boyd County, lost. South Laurel, lost.
Yeah.
Then they played a team out of West Virginia, lost. They played Pulaski County yesterday, lost. But you look at their losses, 51-43, 60-57. That's probably the 3.
So no cupcakes.
They've lost by less than 5 to 6 points every loss of the 6 losses.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's what it's kind of like. It kind of reminds me of like the football team.
Exactly
like,
right. Exactly.
Couldn't tell how good their schedule was because like they're playing like juggernaut teams every week. So you don't know if they're losing because they weren't good or are they losing just because. It's like the Belfry, they lost to Belfry and Johnson Central and whoever. Maybe I'm getting the names wrong. They lost a couple of good programs, and I'm like, well, those programs are great programs. So I can't tell if they're losing because they're not good or just because of what. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm more interested with a Pikeville team like that, how they lost so much. They have a new coach. They only have one player who is a major who. I only think of Leanne Jackson from that team that was majorly impactful along with the girls from last season. They having some shift over in their program. I'm interested to see how they finish. I think a lot of teams are going to have ugly starts. That's basketball. That's a lot of newness. But I'm interested to see how they finish because Pikeville wants to win. That's a school. They got hashtag everything school painted all over their school. So I know they're going to want to win. They're not accepting losses. So. That'll be interesting. That would be an interesting program to kind of like peek over the course of the season.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep an eye on them because I know for a fact that I still think they're a strong contender. And listen,
they must be going through some growing pains, guys.
They were picked to win.
Johnson Central might be the favorite over there, but you don't count Pikeville out.
But as strong as Johnson Central is, and they're probably the strongest in the 15th girls right now.
Yep.
The coaches picked Pikeville as the favorite. Crazy enough. So people respect Pikeville's championship DNA. Johnson Central is probably the top team as of right now, currently in standings. I think rightfully so with how dominant they've looked. But people were high on Pikeville. So it'll be interesting to look at for sure.
I was looking at other records of some of these teams, and I've got them right here in front of me. And I'm gonna go to the 13th girls for just a minute because I want to pinpoint something. we talk about Knox Central and South Laurel. Knox Central, Corbin, and North Laurel all the time, and we think, okay, well, who after them took? I was impressed with Harlan this week. I thought Harlan's a really good basketball team. I think that they run me a lot of Owsely County girls from last year. But do you realize you've got 2 undefeated teams in the 13th region in girls?
Who are the undefeated teams?
Whitley County at 6-0, and Williamsburg is at 4-0.
Who are they playing?
No, Whitley County's played a tough schedule. Now Williamsburg hasn't. That's why I didn't put them in my top 10. Now Whitley County, I had them in my top 10 because they played Owsely and some other schools. They're a good basketball team, and we're really going to find out more about them because they play South Laurel coming up here pretty soon.
Okay, so I was going to say, with some programs, I'm not the biggest record. I don't base my whole decision and opinion on a team based on a record. I base it on the competition as well because there's some, like, for example, last year, Bell County went like 13, 18-0, and they weren't really playing against many people.
Well, Bell's 3-3 this year.
For the boys, I'm giving as like an example for the boys last year. They won like 18-0, but they weren't playing. They were playing like Jackson City, a little bit of like a little more not competition exactly was stacking up with the highest in the 13th and stuff. And they ran into Harlan County, and it was a different story when those were the top 2 in that district. So
the craziest loss of the whole weekend was Middlesboro girls defeating Bell County.
I saw it, yeah. Because I was like, man, I thought Bell County girls were really good, but they had lost Gracie Joe Wilder, I believe. So they're keeping some good players in their team, but that's a good win for Middlesboro girls because they were an up-and-coming program. Sally Adams leading them in the right direction. They have a lot of big things they want to do with Keedy Betts and those players. I got to interview them when they came up here, so they have some high aspirations.
I guess that kind of thing can happen, guys, with it being early in the season. Still, some teams trying to find themselves.
Oh yeah, you're adjusting after losing a big-time player. That's an adjustment.
Yeah, because see, Owsley's going through that. They lost some big-time players last year, and they're kind of, just trying to find themselves right now with. But they do have some veterans back, but they lost some key players.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now the Mountain Classics in the mirror, review mirror. Move on.
I have a question. I
got an answer. Let's go.
What's your opinion on the foul call with Evan Neversole and on hitting that shot on J.C. Carter? What's your opinion? That was very controversial. I had a lot of comments. People walking up to me, even at the gym. I went to the gym earlier today. People were like, "Did you think it was a foul? Did you think it was a foul?" So I'm gonna ask you, CJ and Mr. Turner. Did y'all think it was a foul?
I thought JC did a really good job putting his arms up, but the reason why they called the foul is when Evan Shaw turned, JC went forward. Listen, they're going to call that every time. If you flinch, they're not going to give you that call. And Evan Shaw's so strong, JC had to really, and he gave Evan Shaw the position. Evan Shaw's really good in the paint, and she's so strong. JC had to give him you had to sort of like give him a step. If he could have got his hands up. That's just a great play. Listen, controversy or not, great shot.
Great shot.
It made for great TV. That's what you guys needed.
Oh yeah.
And so I thought on both ends it was just a well played play, just a tough situation. Listen, is it a foul or not a foul? That the same question would have been asked back when Boyle County lost to Covington Catholic. Was his knee down before he fumbled the ball in the end zone?
Yeah. I thought it was interesting because I thought Harlan County, it's been rare that we've seen Hazard on the ropes. I don't think we've seen Hazard on the ropes at all this season. And Harlan County had him on the ropes. But I would say this, as many Harlan County fans are complaining about the foul call, They had chances to put that game away and make it not a 2 1-point game, because JC, just like how he made 2 free throws, he also missed 2 free throws. Max Huff, I think he made 1 of 2 free throws. So they had a chance to make, when they were, they came back and got a 2-point lead or a 3-point lead and Hazard brought it down to 1. They had a chance to make it a 4-point game, a 5-point game, where 1 bucket doesn't change your life. So
yeah, I agree 100%. And,
that's a tough. I think that's a tough way to go home. That's a tough way for that game to end. That's the first thing I thought when I'm like holding the camera. I'm like, there's no way this game ends like that, but it did.
But now, go back to the Boyle County situation with Covington Catholic. Would you have ever thought that game would have ended that way?
I didn't watch that game. I was out doing everything else.
Well, I mean, if you ever want to see the highlights, you can see the highlight on YouTube, because a lot of people says, well, his knee was down before the ball fumbles in the end zone. The referees didn't see it that way. The call was the correct call. The ball did go up to the end zone, but if his knee was down, they didn't see it. Just like Evanshawn yesterday, he turned around. JC was there guarding him, put his hands up. When he went like this, they were going to call the foul.
That's called most of the time, 9 times
75% of the time, that's called. And especially with, the crews out there is a really good crew, veteran crew. They're not going to think it was just listen. That was good basketball. I have no problem with it. I'm happy.
Good basketball. So the future, let's look forward to, CJ.
What on?
You said you wanted to move past the Classic. What's there to look forward to?
Still got a lot. You got a lot of Christmas tournaments coming up. I know we're going to see some good matchups. Teams going to be traveling, but we'll come back with the All A, and I think we're going to get a pretty good idea of who some of these teams are after they come back from these Christmas tournaments.
Teams are going to put some distance between one another.
Yeah.
I agree.
I mean, yeah. Okay, let's talk some Kentucky sports, and I'll let you get out here because you need your rest. You've seen enough of me this week, and I can talk to you all day, but you need your rest. Good win yesterday for both teams, men and the women. Women, very impressive. Men, good win. Kentucky's next game is Ohio State. The women play Western at home. Then they got their home opener. They play Mississippi State in the home opener in conference play. What about Kentucky yesterday? What did you think?
Man, I only got to see a little bit of the highlights. Like I said, I was on the Mountain Classic stuff all day. But I think just looking back at the highlights, man, I love how intense the rivalry was. For me, I really don't know about the Kentucky-Louisville rivalry too much. I'm learning about it just like how a lot of the other, kind of like how there people on Twitter were loving how the players were learning about the rivalry and all that stuff, and I was learning about it just as much, the intensity. I love to see how Lamont Butler came back in the game. I think he is – people were saying that Kentucky – the one thing that Kentucky doesn't have is the guy that who we're going to give the ball to in the last second, and you know who it is now. It's Lamont.
Yeah.
It's Butler. You got to give it in his hands.
Yeah.
Even though they are a great team, but –
And the women, listen, I love watching our women's team play. I mean, that was just impressive win yesterday at Purdue. I mean, I know Purdue wasn't the greatest team with the best record, but that was an impressive win.
Well, Purdue, has won a national title a time or two, ain't they?
Yeah.
The girls, the women,
Yep. So, a lot of good stuff there. Well, Armando, it's, what a classic. Next year will be number 40.
30, I think.
39th, I'm sorry. 39th. Well, I'm jumping ahead because should be another.
No, will it move back to Memorial Gym next year?
No, it's at
Knox County. It's at Knox County.
At Knox County next year. So, yeah.
Don't they never have it at Breathitt?
No. It'll be written Alder Prairie unless there's a last moment change. But we'll have to wait and see. I just hope everything works out at YMT because I know it's been tough times for you guys. And,
yes.
I want everything to work out for you guys. I hope that you can get back to some normalization a little bit. I think having the Classic this week was a step in the right direction. And I think it's going to just lead you guys to hopefully maybe getting back to maybe some good things there at YMT.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But the first thing I want to tell you is I want to wish you an early Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year if I don't get to see you before either one. You're a great friend to the show, and when we get back on January the 5th, we ought to have a really good idea of where everybody stands by then. So,
absolutely, I'll be looking forward to it. Happy Merry Christmas and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you guys as well.
You too, Armando.
I hope you get everything you want for Christmas.
I enjoy watching your sports programs. Enjoy watching you on Sports Overtime.
I appreciate that. Appreciate it.
Do not forget about Sports Overtime. You can watch it every Friday night, 11:15 on WYMTV. Again, I wish you an early Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, Armando, and we will talk to you in 2025.
All righty. See y'all next year.
Have a good one. Thank you. Armando Berry from WYMTV. As he's going to go get some rest now.
Sound like he's really tired there.
Yeah, listen, that tournament's hard. That's a tough tournament.
I know that Tyler Wolf, that's with the Wolf down there at 103.7. I mean,
WKCB.
That man worked every single game of both the CJ. I mean, the DJ Beckley Classic, and then he worked every single game of this tournament too. I don't see how the guy's going.
Yeah, he's energized everybody. He can go all the time. Tyler is a good guy. He does good work. All right, I won't thank everybody that watched the show. Guys, I know we probably had a lot of physical problems out there. If you didn't get to watch the show, I will try to put it back on Facebook, and you can watch a replay of it. I will try to do that. You can always go to YouTube too and watch it there.
That's a good guest.
Yeah, I want to thank all my guests. They were all here tonight. Coach Honeycutt, Coach Smith, Mr. Jeff Drummond, and Mr. Armando Berry. I will not be back. I will not have any more shows for 2024. We are done with the 2024 season, but we'll be back with you on January the 5th at 8 p.m. Episode number 16. My co-host is supposed to be Brian Mammal. So we're going to hopefully have a big night tonight.
That will be a good one.
I'm working on Brian for my co-host. I'm working to get Jeff Davis on the show, but I'm also trying to work on getting state champion football coach Chad Pennington on the show and talk about his state championship and everything with his Sayer Spartans. So we're going to work on that while we're on the Christmas break and New Year's. I want to remind everybody, go to my Facebook. Go to Facebook. I want you to get the CJ Howard page. I want you to share it with your friends and family so they can be a part of the CJ Howard experience. Go to YouTube. I want you to like my channel. Go over there and you can watch the CJ Howard show. Should be several episodes up there. You can watch there. Follow me on TikTok. You can see me on TikTok.
CJ, my friend. If you need contacts, go to our friend James Elliott Turner. He can get you in touch.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go to him because I'm going to need some extra contacts. Yeah. I want to remind you, I'm on TikTok. I also want to remind you guys of something else. Now, if you're on TikTok, I need my fan support. I need you guys. I want you to come to me Thursday night at 8:05. I'm going to do my first battle on TikTok. Me and a good friend of mine, Tennessee, we're going to battle for about 15 minutes. I want you to come over. I want you to support us. I want you, if you can give gifts, we would appreciate it. If you can like and share and taps and all kinds of things, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to put a post out in the morning on TikTok. I'm looking forward to our battle with my friend, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I do have a Cash App, guys. If you would like to donate to the show, you can see my Cash App. You can running across the bottom of the screen. And again, go ahead, Sandra. Give your final thoughts, and we'll get out of here.
Just a really good show. Always some good guests and informative, and we certainly appreciate them coming on here with us to spend some time with us. And we sure hope that Armando gets some rest. I know he had a really long, rigorous weekend there, and just wish all the teams the best as we go into a new week, and best luck to all of them that's going to be participating in these holiday tournaments and classics, showcases, that kind of thing. And we'll have our showcase. James Elliott has his showcase coming up, I think, in January at the Jackson City School, and we encourage you to come out to that. I don't know who else is going to be participating, but I know it's going to be some local teams, you know.
I think Prairie Sicker's at this year.
They might be. I'm not sure. I've not
think
looked
they
at the
are.
schedule, but when does the All A start, CJ?
Second week in January.
So it's still about 3 weeks away.
Yeah, you got Christmas tournaments coming up between now and the end of the month, so that's what's going to be on the agenda.
I could always use your prayers. I'm sure CJ can use your prayers, and we certainly pray for these that have lost loved ones this year. I know it's going to be tough on them with Christmas coming up, and we just pray for everyone's safety and that the Lord blesses them through this holiday season.
Yep.
Thank you, CJ, for letting me come on and be a guest host with you.
Always. I want to wish you an early Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, Sandra.
And you as well, sir.
Yeah, do not leave me
Merry
after we
Christmas
get off
to everyone
there.
out there.
Yeah, I want to say something to you after we get off there. Again, I want to thank everybody who watched the CJ Harris Show in 2024. We'll be back better than ever in 2025. I want to wish everybody an early Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Hope Santa brings you everything you want, and I hope 2025 is everything that you hope it will be. Again, I want to remind you, I'll be back with you on January the 5th for the new season of the 2025 season of the CJ Harris Show. This is CJ Howard rounding third, heading for home. As Casey Kasem would say, keep your feet on the ground. Keep reaching for those stars. I love you all. God bless you. And good night.